I've come up to Middlesbrough in the county of Yorkshire, and this is the Linthorpe Cemetery. Now it's a stormy day and there's a lot of wind around, and I hope you're not getting too much on the microphone. Now Middlesbrough is a very industrial city. It's been famous for a long time for its iron and steel making, and now probably because it's an important port on the Tees. Now looking out here, I can see the usual but very important war graves. 3 are in front of me. Let's just stop and look at the first one. This is Private C. Davies, the Green Howards, 1946, aged 24. And the family have put in fond memory, loving wife, father, mother and brother Joe. Well, let's just walk through the graveyard. I've no idea what we're going to find here. Some more war graves down there to the right, and one immediately in front of me. We're so close, we must have a look at it. This is Gunner C.L. Roberts, Royal Artillery, 1945, aged 34. This one is readable. Sarah Whitley, June the 6th, 1932, aged 59. And then John Whitley, 1909. Well, he predeceased her, but he's lower down on the memorial. Interesting. The graveyard is obviously still being used, at least they're in filling spaces. This one here is absolutely full of flowers, obviously quite recent. Very nicely cared for. Amda Sugden. Not easy to read these stones, and that one there is clear. Roseanne Burton, 1927, aged 54, and Charles, her husband, in 1935. Now this area the grass has been cut, but we're moving now into an area we've allowed it to just do what it wants to do. It's good for wildlife, not quite so good for visiting the stones. Now this one was once a grand statue, but she's lost her head and her right hand, and it's rather smooth with all the weathering from the rains and what have you. That's Emily P. Greenfield, 1924, and unfortunately is tipping forward towards us. One suspects it won't be standing for much longer. Well, there's obviously been massive clearance in this graveyard. Stones are few and far between, and even those that are here have been decapitated. These 2 on the left here are just pedestals now. The crosses have been removed, presumably considered unstable. The inscription at the bottom on this one, Joseph Arthur, 1941, and Evelyn Maud. Above that it says George Rawlinson. Having said the stones have been cleared, And we still have quite a pleasant sort of park-like walk in a large industrial city. It's always nice to have a bit of space. Nice inscription on this. Catherine France's beloved wife of David Young, 1912, aged 36. Then their second son, David, aged 15 months. Lillian, their third daughter, aged 3 years. And David, their third son, 2 years and 3 months. We're so lucky nowadays when children do tend to survive their childhood. We're going back here 100 years and more, and child mortality rates were much higher. A pleasant little woodland walk. We've got one down here, a war grave, an unusual colour stone. Sub-Lieutenant J.C. Duncan RNVR of the tug George Robinson, 1918, aged 30. Now someone has re-lettered that with black paint poorly. I have been told that there's quite a severe fine if you're caught re-lettering these CWGC memorials. There's a column on the corner, a broken column. Broken columns signify a life cut short. And the name on the front, Tom. And it looks like Thomas, Emma and Emma Thompson underneath. Let's carry on up the path. This one has a clear inscription, but it's tilting quite markedly towards us. James R.T. Fryatt, a Tees pilot, that's the River Tees, who was drowned in the river. 1910, age 25. And then underneath, the brother of the above, who died aged 27 some years before. And then, unfortunately, Captain H. Fryatt, beloved father of the above, who was drowned entering the River Tees. What a tragic story on that stone. One hopes sincerely that it can be preserved and not allowed to topple forward. There's stones over there between the trees. This one on the left has a clear inscription. This is Albert James, dearly beloved husband of Grace Ann Wheatley, who was accidentally killed on board SS Hypatia in Middlesbrough docks, aged 43 years. Although the stones are sparse, this is a very large cemetery. One up there on the bank, inaccessible because of the brambles, but unlikely to be there much longer, tilting at a horrendous angle. Well, perhaps not the busiest or numerous number of memorials, the cemetery, but a pleasant enough woodland walk. I've just noticed another military war grave here, and this one seems to have been relettered. Private T, Glasgow, Yorkshire Regiment, 1914, age 34. Well, I've taken the left turn and there's a cleared area here with some sort of art erected, but fairly characterless, I must say. I'm looking directly ahead at a very tall one. I'm wondering if that is not a war memorial, but we'll work our way down there. On my way down I noted this one, John Scarlett, 1875, aged 58. John, his eldest son, who was lost at sea in the steamship Bayard in 1878, aged 27. And beneath that is his daughter, who died aged 11, and some other names further down. And this is the main war memorial. The names aren't listed on here, but it does say on the front of it, "To the honoured memory of those sailors and soldiers who gave their lives for their country in the Great War 1914-18 and who lie buried in this cemetery." Directly in front of that main memorial is a more recently added board, and this has the names of those men who are buried in this cemetery from World War I. And a brief count up tells me there's 175 names here. I'll try and close up on a couple. You can see some of the detail. Nearby are one or two other big memorials. This one in the grey marble, David, beloved husband of Margaret Olmgill, looks like 1913, aged 60 years. This one here unfortunately has lost the broken column. It's lying on the ground beside it. Helen, beloved wife of Gustav E. Jaeger, who died 1906, aged 52, and then Gustav, who died in 1914. If I go across the path, there's a very long, tall column. And this one reads, Alfred, the beloved husband of Annie Elizabeth Forrester, 1898, aged 58, and then various other names as we go down the face of the stone. I noted this one under the tree with the sorrowing maiden, one hand clasped to her head and the other one holding some flowers or reeds. And the inscription is Annie Elizabeth, the wife of Frank George Field, 1929, and she left aged 40. This white one has a decided lean to it, but it has quite a lot of inscriptions on two sides. In loving memory of Thomas Noble, the third son of Thomas and Elizabeth Dowson, 1914, aged 45, a mariner, late, YCC. And then underneath, some other names. If we move round to the right side, it gives some other details on what graves they're buried in. But sadly, with a tilt like that, it may only be there for a few more years. This is a quite ornate memorial. The inscription is John Bruton, the husband of Hannah Bruton, 1892 possibly, aged 39 years. They seem to use quite a soft stone here because the moulding has gone quite rounded, and the urn on top not as well defined as it would have been. And on the left hand side we have another name, George Arthur, who died aged 4.5 months. It's a small area of newer graves, or new graves. This one's got a outline of the person's face with his bow tie. Rufus Daniel Daly, who died in 1997. Now if we go back here, Reverend John Cave, the surname Walker, and then in lighter lettering, Edward Dixon and Margaret, 1923 and 26. Two very well decorated graves, David Crozier and then Daisy Crozier, and she has pictures of two cats. Carrying on down, I see one with a colourful flag, Nikola Perkovic, 2008. I have no idea what flag that is. Please put it in the comments below if you do know. Very well decorated ones. This one sadly is a child's grave. Angel Atkinson, born sleeping. Next to that is someone that reached the age of 82 years. 65 years. Nice piece of carving on here with the angel clasped hands at the top. In loving memory of our dear Freddie, who was called away in 1915, aged 4 years. And then his mother, Edith Helena, wife of Otto Steiner. She died aged 33. Now, tucked across one side of the cemetery, I almost missed it, is the Hebrew section. If you look at the building, it's got the six-pointed star at the top, and it says the Middlesbrough Hebrew Congregation, 1932. And let's go round and look at a few of the memorial stones. You can see straight away that we're not going to be able to read all the inscriptions. White one there for Evelyn Sarah Buki. Harold Halson, Nathan Nyman, Eric Joseph Fleischmann, and another Fleischmann behind, Joseph Einan Kaufman, late of Swansea, very tightly packed together, all of them, almost all of them, with curbstones, but not much indication they cared for with flowers or cultivation. Maybe that's part of their tradition not to do that. If I turn around and show you the other side, it's almost like a deserted graveyard. No sign of any attention being paid to any of the graves in recent years. Well, that's the Hebrew section of Linthorpe Cemetery. Well, that's my visit to the Linthorpe Cemetery in Middlesbrough. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're up this way, take some time and come and have a look for yourself. Till the next time.